MMO, one of my favorite genres in the gaming industry. I've never dedicated as much time to any other genre as I did to MMORPGs. But have you ever wondered why you love MMO games so much? I personally like to compete with the other players, to become better and to support them. I like having something that only a few people have. I like being the strongest on my character. I like my character to stand out from the rest, and most importantly, I like to be one of the first. Yes, it's the classic hierarchical instinct that prevails in most of us. It is what characterizes any leader and any success. It is the instinct that makes the most popular games best, on pitting players against each other. To win, to climb the ranking table, become the best. I think most of you are familiar with this. But if in MOBA shooters battlegrounds the basics of the games are always the same and all you need is to win all the time, MMO games try to imitate the real world, in which there are a lot of different directions, and you have to choose which one you want to be the best at. In addition, no one wants to be in a catch-up role. Everyone wants to start the race on the same day and on an equal footing. That's why players are waiting for the release of new games in the MMORPG genre. Many of people want to start exploring a new world together with all, feel like a pioneer, and without any early access and boosters for an additional fee. No one should have an advantage. Unfortunately for MMO fans, new games in this genre are rarely released. Particularly because of their quality standard set, developers must have a well-calibrated strategy for their project, otherwise it just won't be able to retain players. A lot of different interesting projects visible on the horizon, which will clearly shake up the community of MMO fans in the future. But today, I would like to tell you about a project that got lost among the marketing headlines of its competitors, the closet test of which I recently managed to visit, and frankly speaking, I was delighted. Corepunk positioned itself as an isometric AAA MMORPG, with a seamless open world and the fog of war. If I were to give a brief description of this game, I would call this project a mix of classic World of Warcraft and MOBA games. This game is kind of symbiotic, which included the classic MMO structure, with the rise of the smooth meditative pace of the game in the beginning, and the combat system the favorite MOBA games. In general, I, like a person who spends thousands of hours in MOBA and MMO games, was certainly fascinated by this concept. And for more than 4 years I've been watching Artificial Core Studios creating this game, and I think it's worth telling more about that. Artificial Core is new studios founded in 2015, with headquarters in Amsterdam and main development office in Kiev. Corepunk is their first project, developed on the Unity engine. The game was first announced on IGN on the 10th of December 2019, and although most people like the concept and ideas, it still didn't gain much hype, which I think is for the best, because later all of the studio's plans went downhill. The promised dates were ridiculous. Developers faced a lot of problems, which took a lot of time to solve, so fans received only postponements of closed testing. The promised content was cut down, the news about the game was released less and less. But Artificial Core didn't want to deceive the fans, and even more so, they didn't intend to release a raw product to make money. Their bar was high, that's why instead of spending money on necessary marketing, they invested all their finances into development and buried themselves in the office, improving and polishing their project for years. But in addition to development problems, the studio faced a worse one: war.
Just hours ago, Russian forces began their attack.
Kyiv might soon fall to Russian forces.
The Russians will take control of Kyiv
within 24 hours.
Larger than the Ukrainian one.
It's not a question of if Russia takes the capital, it's a question of when.
As I have already said, the main development office was in Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, and the development staff consisted mostly of Ukrainians. They even affected everyone. Many people left their jobs and went to their families. Some went to defend the country, and some to the staff simply could not be contacted. The development process was suspended, It took a long time to restore everything and get back on track with it. Only a year later, the developers pleased us with the new details. And in September 2023, the first closed test was held, where 30 active participants from Discords and forums were invited. There were 2 such closed local tests. The developers collected feedback on negative and positive aspects from the players and then improved and fixed them as needed. And in December, the 3rd test took place, and at least 2,000 people were invited to it. I was lucky enough to be one of them. This test was held without NDA, so anyone could record and broadcast this game. And despite the fact that on this test the players had access to a rather small and truncated in the mechanic piece of the game, it is still amazing. I will tell you what the game is in general and about my impression in total. The first thing that we meet with is choosing a hero with his weapon mastery and character customization. Customization looks minimalistic and enjoyable, keeping the style of the game. By the way, I would like to point out that at the stage of character creation you can already see how different the game is from the one presented in the trailer of 4 years ago. At the test, we had access to one weapon mastery for 3 heroes. Each weapon mastery is responsible for a specific playstyle of the character. For example, the hero Bomber can be with weapon mastery Blast Medic or an Infiltrator, gameplay of which is maximally different. The weapon mastery cannot be changed during the game. It will be possible only in late game after fulfilling of certain conditions. Your hero has 4 unique abilities inherent to his weapon mastery, 2 additional abilities that you can buy and combine for units, and 1 special abilities. Some characters have it active and some passive. For example, my character's special ability after 10 strike could start rotating and cause damage to the area. Just like in MOBA games, the main attribute that will be directly affect the strength of your character is artifacts. Yes, it is the artifact that will mostly determine your characteristic because the armor in this game is purely decorative. You can collect various elements of your equipment, then combine them and get a unique appearance. The very same artifacts mostly adjust the characteristic to your character. For example, attack power or heals. If you want a better artifact, you can combine them, and if you are lucky enough to pick a rare artifact, it will give you 1 random extra characteristic. In general, the artifact crafting has a way to go, but there are also other aspects that affect the strength of your hero. For example, weapons and chips on them, runes with effect on the artifacts, or as boosters in the form of pills, syringes and tubes, and on the upcoming test a tree of improving your abilities and passive talents will be added. All in all, a huge layer for unique building. So, I created a character and you appear somewhere near a ruined portal. You're made by a robot and local goblin.
Don't die and have a nice day.
After talking to him, you realize that you're an illegal alien and you have to get some identity papers. That's it. You will not see any markers on the map, no search area. You have an open world and the opportunity to go on all 4 sides. How you complete the mission is up to you. So I followed the path that later led me on the right house. But on the way there, I met a new NPC who was just passing by. I would never have taken a task for him in my life if I had not decided to click on him out of interest. I had the chance to have a nice conversation with him, find out who he was and how I could help him. Thus, I got a new quest. As you realized, in this game there are not exclamation marks above NPCs. I could talk to all the NPCs I meet in the game and practically everyone gave me a quest. I like this feature. There are not these constantly looming signs above your head which break the whole immersiveness. You only get a quest if you are interested in an NPC. On the eternal question of the lack of markers, I can say one thing. You can't please everyone. One half likes this approach, the other half doesn't. By the way, for those who don't want to bother and waste time on searching, fans will probably create a map with all the markers and solution, as it always happens. And fans of measured gameplay who like to explore the world can only enjoy it. After all, the quests, despite the fact that they're still classics, find, first serve, are done in a very fresh way. This is mainly due to the fact that each character feels like a distinct and living personality. You don't just take a quest from him, you can find out who he is, where he lives and much more. To all this in the dialogues, there are often various Easter eggs, black humors and swear words, so you just want to talk to NPCs. What I'm telling you, just listen to it.
Who are you?
I'm Zoltar Blipchain, all the way from Andromeda. I'm a blockchain enthusiast revolutionizing farming. Call me the Aaron Dusk of agriculture without the tweets.
Hey there, you! The fucking pipes, they're driving me nuts! Gonna lend me a hand or just stand there watching?
Are you kidding me? Stop distracting yourself. This is not your house and not the place I sent you to. What, are you coming from a world of thieves or something?
You're Rastafari.
Can I lend a hand?
Blessings upon you, friend. Care to lend a hand with a little gathering? So here's the deal, man. I had a big delivery, but I accidentally smoked the whole batch. I'm way too high to gather new stock.
Oh, for fuck's sake. The imps have already beaten us to it. Those greedy fuckwits have stolen everything they could from the shuttle.
Of course, there were some negative moments. For example, NPCs were not displayed on the map after you found them. This led to that you couldn't pass the quest because you forgot where the NPC you need. But these and other minor flaws were removed or changed after testing, on what the developers reported. They listened to all the complaints of players and removed the flaws, maintaining their original idea. The world you are getting in is not a friendly one. You are not the one who has to save the world, you are more of a stranger. In the beginning you will just try to survive and understand what to do. Mobs that you will meet will easily kill you or leave you on low HP, and health and mana indicators in this game are not restored passively, and it's not so easy to restore them here. There is a variety of food scattered around the world, which allows you to recover your indicators. But the food regeneration itself is not very effective. For the best effect, food should be eaten at the campfire. It raises the food rates by 200-300%. You need to craft this campfire or use the camp in the settlement, where a lot of players gather at resting after heavy battles or looking for allies. Yes, you will need allies, because the enemies here are really strong. Even a first level rat with a similar level you will be a worthy rival. And if there are several such rats, there is a great chance of kicking the bucket. Therefore, it is quite difficult to be alone in this game. You will have to look for allies to explore the world and complete quests more efficiently. And you simply can do a good grind alone. They are huge location with a large number of camps, with different enemies, each with its own unique features. And it's not so easy for an untrained squad to copy with them, as well as train at one. A little underestimation of your enemies or overestimation of your own strength will result in the death. After each of such camp, you will put a campfire and restore your indicators, and so until you run out of supplies. That's why in the future the game will seem to you a preparation for a foray in the unknown, and then having defeated hundreds of camps, you return home with booty and rewards. Of course, this is not all. According to the developers, you will also be waiting for world bosses, traveling bosses, dungeons, raids, housing, various professions and a very interesting lore of the game. This is about PvE, but PvP part isn't less interesting. PvP in the open world is available, but only in designated zones. For example, a huge zone with camp and loot of resources to collect is a PvP zone. Within it, players can enable PvP and kill other players. When you kill other players, one random item stack will drop from the players, just like that not full loot system. Also, after killing a player, karma points are awarded to the killer. If you kill a player above or of the same level as you, karma points will be given a little. But if you kill a player below your level, then your karma will rise to heaven, your nickname will immediately turn red and you will gain the status of a criminal. Any players will be able to attack and kill you without any consequences for karma. Plus, he will still get points of honor with which he can improve equipment. And in cities and towns, guards will attack and kill criminals. According to the developers, there will be separate towns of such players, in which they will be able to craft, trade and buy whatever they need. And if you want to clear your karma, you will have to kill monsters not below your level and complete special quests. Besides all this, the developers will be arenas, boss team and one-to-one and battlegrounds. Of course, all this will be with the waiting table, so that you can prove to everyone how strong you are. What else I'd like to point out? Fog of War is a really cool mechanic. It works well both ways. It seems to scare you with its obscurity, but at the same time beckons you to look behind every tree, hoping to find something interesting. Besides, it interacts well with other elements of gameplay, for example with the sound design. If you detach the camera from your character, then you can look into places that are near your character, but at the same time hidden by the Fog of War. And if there are enemies there, you will hear them before the fog clears. For example, you will hear wolves growling or imps talking. Meeting them may be the last for you. So, the game just forces you to listen to the environment, and thus immerse yourself in it even more. Another no less interesting mechanic is the jumping mechanic. This is something new for isometric, and I was skeptical about this mechanic, to be honest, but it's pretty well implemented into the game, so no without problems. The jumps feel really well, and in some places even a maze where you can get thanks to them. In addition, they also have a strategic importance, because by climbing a tree or just jumping up, you can dispel the Fog of War and see what awaits you. Climb down carefully, because the damage of falling is also there, and it's quite tangible. You can also swim here, and the mounts are available without add-ons. And what I like the most is that the developers are clearly not trying to please everyone by simplifying mechanics and lowering the age rating of the game. Perhaps because of the stylistic the game will seem a little bit cartoonish to you, but it's not so. Obscene language, sexual content, drugs in the form of boosters from the character, and a lot of Easter eggs show that the game is aimed at an older audience, which in my opinion will only be a plus. And now, many people have a few questions. When will the game be released? How much will it cost? Where will it be distributed? According to the developers, the game is planned only on PC. It will be distributed through its own separate launcher, and the payment model of the game is planned to be buy-to-play, with various battle passes and cosmetics, without any boosters that create pay-to-win. But the date of the full-fledged release is unfortunately still unknown. The developers say that everything will depend on the results of nearby tests and how quickly they will be able to fix all the flaws. And if everything goes as planned, they hope to release the first story part of Corepunk this year. But if you are looking forward to trying this project, you have such an opportunity. I don't know when you're watching this video, but from the 27th of May to the 2nd of June, there will be a new alpha test, where at least 10,000 people will be invited. So don't miss your chance. Leave your mail to register for the test. The developers will be glad to have new players. Now they're in a phase where they read and consider everyone's opinions and make change according to it, so you can make your contribution to the game. And by the way, why do you like MMORPG games so much?